I'm having a really interesting conversation. Um, Trev, you know who you are. You always sort of give me a direction into what to talk about next. You hold very, very interesting conversations. You probably make me think more than I might make you think. But our conversation maybe led me to reword something. And another name came up, Roger Penrose, which I'm a fan of. Um, there is a key phrase he said in describing some of his experiments that he's made, which is all to do with the observer observing something and then making reality happen. The observer changes reality. And in his statement he says, if you believe as I believe, and that's the biggest key right there is, if you believe what he sees, then you will see the same thing. If you don't believe what he sees, you'll see something completely different. So when you want to look at the whole global bullshit game that's going on, you're getting a lot of information. What's true? What's reality? And how you're going to perceive everything is going to be based on what you believe. And you're now finding out that everything that you believed was a lie. It's going to piss you off, especially if you lose most of your shit, because it won't seem fair. But you haven't realized that you're not living in a fair world. You probably said the mantra to other people when you had shit and somebody else didn't. You probably used the words, life isn't fair. And it's, or you've been told that by somebody else, that they had stuff that you didn't, and so they told you life isn't fair. So as the whole global thing collapses, it's like, we don't live in a fair world. Suck it up. And, where did this mindset come from? I've tried communicating what I've seen, and the people that object to me the most tend to be the ones that have a lot. I've been thinking of getting into politics. There is this one party that I'm kind of liking, kind of don't, and it's REFED, REFED. It's a BC party that's looking at making government a lot more accountable and changing the structure of government, but based on a democracy, which means only 51% get heard, and 51% are going to be worried about getting their staff and not give a shit about the 49% whether they have their staff. It is an unfair system. So I'm kind of against doing that, mind you, as long as the majority is in poverty now, that's when you can make some really good changes. But the changes that I'm concerned that would be made in any kind of new political party is they'll only be focused at getting 51% rich again and trying to maintain 51% rich, which is nothing more than slavery. There's got to be the guys that have and the have-nots. And a lot of people that would disagree with me are motivational speakers. And it's the oddest thing. I wanted to improve my communication skills just because I'm now seeing a different message that I'd like to talk about, and everybody would call me crazy. So this is why I even do a YouTube channel, is, okay, I'm going to learn how to talk about the kind of stuff that I see going on right now that's not really well accepted. Because we're in a process of finding out everything that's wrong and learning everything that's right, and we're not taking what's right too good. Because you have to let go of everything that's wrong. And we don't want to let go of shit. Um, and like that's the problem I'd have if I got into politics, is these motivational speakers, that, these people that believe in slavery. I don't. I think there is another way. But to make this video more to the point of what it is that I wanted to talk about, it's your perception of how you want to view what's right and wrong. And the reason why that I kind of am sitting there going, okay, humanity is friggin' insane. And you can really see it with this Project Avalon interviewing this psychopath, Charles, I think, who's saying, oh, I'll let you know all the plans that are going on. You can see this guy didn't have any value for life. And that's what most psychopaths are. Most mental illness, people that don't give a shit, they have nothing to lose, they have no value for life. They know that you're on this planet for a short period of time, you're here to do whatever you want to do, and then you die. There's no consequences. There's no, like, you just have to say, okay, Jesus, I believe in you, and then you're saved. Like, as long as you play that game out, that you don't have to be responsible or accountable for any of your actions, because you're going to die eventually, then you will perceive your whole entire world based on, doesn't really matter. Everybody's got to die somehow. How they die is not my business. Meanwhile, you're owning a corporation. You may be putting 2,000 people to work, and you know very well that you're going to shorten the lives of everybody that works for you while you live the good life. But the good life is, going to make you overeat like Oprah, and you won't be responsible or accountable for the types of food that you eat or the excess that you give your body to the point where you're going to die of something. So it doesn't really matter. And, it doesn't matter whether the rich die of the diseases that they create for themselves, and it doesn't matter the poor of how they die. It doesn't really matter because we're all going to die. But I wasn't getting sick. Well, I've had 2 colds in 17 years. There was well over 12 years that I didn't even get as much as a cold or a flu. That made me look at illness. What is illness? Aging. I wasn't aging. I have in the last few years, just because I see it's like, oh my God, I see the picture. Everybody else is out to kill me. Because that's basically how we've structured this matrix, is how to kill everybody. Even Christians are out to kill people, and they don't know it yet, and they won't have that conversation. They'll just judge me and say that I'm talking to Satan, or yet their actions are like, okay, play that game out and tell me you won't be killing somebody or responsible for somebody's death. Whether it's 5 people removed, you're still, how many religious people are supportive of war, and does war kill? How many people are religious and supporting an oil industry, working in an oil industry, when we know we have free energy, when we know we have clean ways of running this planet? Ignorance is not an excuse. If that mindset is a legal argument, then it's a moral argument as well. We have everything to do it right. And if you were listening to your gods, then you'd know how to do everything right. But there is this acceptance that we all must die. And it's a wild concept to think that, no, we don't have to die. The whole life experience is not about death, but about life. And it's like, okay, that's a really wild thought, but it's a perception. It's an ingrained, you've seen everybody die for generations. So if everybody has been dying for generations, it must be true that we all must die. Yet, yeah, I do have little examples in the Bible that they lived like, a couple of 100 years. Like, what's killing us? Why is our lifespan so short? We can extend it. Even if we extend it 5 years, what would it take for us to expand on human life to be 5 years longer? And then go 10 years longer. What do we need to do to be able to make human life actually longer? And what kind of problems would that pose? Well, a lot of these crazy elites think that there's an overpopulation problem. Bill Gates and his little computer issues, he doesn't realize that you can design any program to forecast any future you want to look at. And if you want to look at, a forecast that in how many ways are we going to run out of food, you'll come up with, oh, here's the business plan. And that business plan is only there to justify a good business deal so that you can make a lot of money, because that's the ultimate goal, is this insane attachment to money and being the best. The only way you can be the best is by having the most money at the cost of killing people. And you can kill people. As long as you're a corporation, you can break any law in any country. So, how would your life change if you just looked at it from a perspective that humanity's not supposed to die? Accidents aren't supposed to happen. You're supposed to be preventing them. You're supposed to be living your life right. If you live your life right, would your life expand? That's what I see is going to happen in 2012, is you're going to shift to, oh, what does it take to make everybody live? And how do I participate in that game? Right now, everybody's got a death wish. So how you liking that rut? Because you're all about to die from your corporate world. They're putting out more than enough poison that, the earth is going to spit us all out, and sun and everything else. I mean, you don't even understand the universal world, but it's very much a karma. Lots of things you don't understand, but lots of information out there for you to understand. You just got to want to understand it. Peace out.